Hi, welcome back to the special edition of Hannity. All throughout the Russia collusion investigation, the media has done a great disservice to you, the American people, using their platform, their powerful platforms, just to attack the president. They didn't dig for the truth. Here with reaction, former White House press secretary Sean Spicer. Yeah, look, I don't know how you did that job. I don't know how Sarah Sanders does the job. I would not be able to do that job. It would be entertaining for about a day, and it wouldn't end well. But in a serious note, when you have Russian collusion and Hillary paying for a Russian dossier to lie to the American people, it's totally unverified. Then it's used for a FISA warrant, the bulk of that information unverified. And you have the whole 2009 issue of Putin operatives in the United States committing crimes trying to get into the Iranian market. We ignore it, even though we have an informant, and let that happen. How is it possible that the press only cares about Trump Russia and nothing else Russia?
Yeah, well, that's because that's what they've been doing forever. If it's against a Republican or a conservative, they go full bore on it. They'll find any narrative or thread and tag on it. If it's staring them right in the face and it's a Democrat or it's a Clinton, they'll walk away from it. Peter Schweitzer, a guest that you have on quite often, wrote an entire book on it. I mean, it's all laid out there. All the money, all of the actions, all of the people involved, and it's sort of like, you know, it made for a great interview once, and then everyone moved on from it. But if we're going to talk about Russia and collusion and interaction and money and all that, I think that there's a roadmap for what the Clintons had did. That it's interesting. Just because she lost the election doesn't mean that the crimes or potential crimes should be ignored.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the whole point here. Is it really, did they really care about the truth? Or is it that they only care about the narrative that hurts the president? And, you know, I watch this dog and pony show every day, and you did it, and then Sarah's doing it every day. I don't even know what the purpose of it is at some points. Because Sarah can give a statement and say, well, that's all we have to say on something, and they can keep going.
No, it's because, look, and I've said this over and over again, both during my time there and then since then, that the briefing used to serve a purpose, which was that the members public of actions or policy or personnel decisions that occurred, and in lieu of when the president could speak, the press secretary would get there and answer their questions. If you look at the questions that get asked, they ask the same question over and over again, and it's because, despite the fact that they got the answer, they want to get their little clip on television or to be able to show it to their audience. It's not about getting information anymore. It's not about informing a public. It's about making YouTube stars out of all of these folks that come in and day out. And I think one of the things that's also important, Sean, and this is what you're getting at, is that it's not just what they cover, it's what they don't cover. And I also would just say one quick thing, because we talk a lot about the president, but I think that Joy Behar's attack on the vice president's Christianity and faith is just despicable during this holy season of Lent. But I think what's even more despicable is the fact that no one in the media found it deplorable that she went and did that. In fact, it was a vice president who had to respond himself and defend himself, instead of having any other member or Joy Behar and say that was a little over the line.
It was a lot over the line, and that's the point. And you know, I just know that if a conservative says one thing, one word, one sentence, one phrase, you know, the reaction is like, oh, you know, the outrage. There's no revising and extending remarks or even apologizing if you were wrong and misstate something.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, I spent 6 years at the RNC, and with little Tommy at, like, West Jefferson Middle School, who was running for treasurer, said something offensive, the RNC would get called about what our comment was. When the left or the media stepped well over the line, the answer is, well, that's not what they meant.
Do you see that the media is complicit? Do you, after all that time you spent as press secretary, and you don't have to answer if you don't want, are they complicit? Are they? Do you see them totally in the tank for one side, as I do?
I think most. I don't like to loop everybody in on the same broad brush, because there are some good folks there that really try to pursue good journalism and the truth. No, but I think there are some that I will enumerate in my book that's coming out, and I think that's what they should be praised. But there are folks you just mentioned who's more interested in getting clips and clicks and becoming a star. But when was the last time that Jim Acosta broke any news? his entire career is made out of the exchanges and the yelling that he has and the level of obnoxious that he reaches to, as opposed to the news that he breaks and the information that he shares.
All right, Sean Spicer, thank you. We appreciate it. More Hannity coming up right after this break.